Mr. Jonathan.
I'm back. You're back.
We're all back. We're on episode 110, and I feel like it's time we talk more about being a champion and kind of what it makes to be a champion.
It feels like it would suit my backdrop rather well. And
I know,
our
right?
lives rather well.
And who better too than the 2024 champion of the year? We got Sanket Patil with us from Bowhead.
Where's your round of applause, Kirby? That's a round of applause kind of guy.
I've got it. Okay, I'll do it again. Okay, sorry.
Oh, come on, you guys.
Okay, we've got 2024 SOLIDWORKS Champion of the Year, Sanket Patil.
Namaste.
My soundboard isn't as accessible as I used to since I moved it there, and I've actually got to look at the screen to see what's on.
You know, everything. I like putting you on the spot for things. It was well worth it.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome.
Kirby, Johnny, how are you guys doing?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing good. Yeah, it's been a great summer here so far. How's the UK?
It's been unfavorably hot for the UK.
That's right.
It's been
fully out of season.
It's been the driest summer on record in the UK. Right. It's been disgustingly hot heat waves, and all of our houses are designed to keep that heat in for the winter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're literally, the UK is in a drought. For a place that's like
fires or things like that.
Yeah, we're getting fires and that.
The world's gone mad over here. It's crazy. It's literal meltdown. The grass is all dead. The UK's green countryside is now burnt brown.
Oh man, I hope there's some quick relief for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Johnny. I've got a hosepipe ban, so I'm not allowed to use a hosepipe.
We're not quite there up north. We've got a bit more in stock than you, but there is some areas over here. But it's very dry. The ground is baked solid.
Yeah, like I mean, we've not had much fire in Calgary per se, but there's fire in BC and stuff. So we've had smoke for a couple of days. Yeah, it seems to get increase every year on year. So yeah.
I mean, my personal experience, I've been in the UK for 12 years, and yeah, each summer it gets hot. The buildings here don't have air conditioning or anything, but this year, for the first time, the gas company, British Gas, are now selling air cons. They've now changed their business model.
They're branching out. Yeah, British Gas have realised that heating, like gas central heating, isn't the answer in summer, and they need to do something. So they also supply electric, so please buy an air conditioner from them.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's always. I was in a kind of a group call with you, Sanket, and this is kind of where this whole idea is. You posed the question, which we're going to kind of bring up a bit later, just about AI and kind of how things will change. But I think for anyone that doesn't know who you are, where you work, and kind of how you got there. So tell us a bit about yourself and what is it that you do at Bowhead?
Yeah, glad to. So I'm Sanket. I'm a mechanical engineer by training. I trained in India. I actually wanted to be an astrophysicist growing up. I was sort of a nerdy kid, all into like black holes and galaxies and wormholes, and was completely fascinated by that sort of a thing. And I thought I had it in me to be a astrophysicist, but I did not. I wasn't smart enough, and ended up being a mechanical engineer because I just wanted to pursue in my interest in physics and see how you sort of apply that. And went on to do masters in design because design was something I really found interesting as I was, as I discovered mechanical engineering. And so yeah, my CAD journey sort of started about the same time. I must mention here that I was one of those people who learned how to draw on paper. Not like we were taught on like using the rolling scale and all those instruments. And
that was so much fun. I used to love it.
Yeah, so it was it sort of helps you visualize. Like I think Joe was mentioning that in one of the calls that we've had, right? But we were also trained on AutoCAD, so that was really my first introduction to like CAD. And when I did my master's, they taught us Pro E. So Pro E was one of the first 3D softwares that I actually learned. And 2012, when I got into industry, I used NX. So I sort of had a lot of tools initially, and I thought like, yeah, okay, this is a new tool. Like it's a way to be more efficient, and you don't have to like spend a lot of time projecting your views to get an isometric view, for instance. So it was something fascinating. But my real I would say fascination with SolidWorks started sometime in, I think, 2014, 2015, when I was contracting for Siemens. And Siemens, this particular group in Siemens was using SolidWorks. I believe it was a company that was taken over by Siemens, and they were using SolidWorks. And there was a lot of resistance in this group to switch to NX. And I was always wondering why, right? And when I started using SolidWorks, I really realized why. Like it sort of democratized CAD in a way that there was multiple ways to arrive at the solution. You didn't have to remember steps. The user interface was so much better. Plus, there was so much of CAD help available. Like it was documented really well. One of the things that amazes me even today is, how SolidWorks has this really powerful capability for surfacing.
Yes.
I feel that's not something a lot of CAD softwares have. You either have a very high-end surfacing capability, which is meant for like aeronautical applications and stuff like that. But for designers like us who want like a good controlled surface, for instance, to create aesthetic surfaces, plastics, I think SolidWorks has the right balance, and it's not that difficult to learn surfacing. And once you learn it, it's like your modeling sort of takes off to a
you unlock a whole new world with surfacing. It's my favorite way of modeling.
Yeah, so I was sort of fascinated by all of that, and I was like, okay, I'm not taking up any other project that does not have SolidWorks as the primary CAD tool. So it all started from there. And 2018, I moved to Canada, and I also did my CSWP plus some advanced certifications at that point. And 2021-ish, I joined Bowhead in 2020. And my role at Bowhead is primarily that of a design engineer, and sort of helps our product team here. Like, we're a fascinating company. We have great ideas about how to help the adaptive community and other community that are interested in biking. And I essentially help our team bring these ideas to life. Like I sort of take the concept design, contribute to the concept design, take it all the way to manufacturing, release it for production. So when I started back in 2020, it was in Christian's basement. We only had one bike, the Bowhead Reach, and now we have like 4 different bikes in our portfolio. We have our own carbon composite wheelchair. We have the Bowhead Nano, plus a lot of other bike and wheelchair related accessories. And we've sort of seen an exponential growth, and SolidWorks and 3D Experience have been the backbone of this particular growth, right? So also helped implement the 3D Experience platform here at Bowhead in about 2021. And it was also a very unique way, I feel, of addressing product data management or product lifecycle management. And mind you, till that point, I was one of the users, the end users of these systems. When I was contracting with Siemens and other companies, we were using SAP and something called as Engineering Control Center. And so I had experience of using these tools on the other end, on the user side of the end. But at Bowhead, I got an opportunity to implement a system, right? And I was actually blown away by how easy it was to sort of implement 3D Experience and, start it from scratch. And it was, I knew that we would mature to a point where we'll start to use change management and other aspects of product data management, product lifecycle management. And I wanted to make sure that we were future-proofing ourselves. And I got on a call with Sean. That is when actually I came to know about the SolidWorks Champions program, but I did not think much of it at that point, because I was like, okay, there's this bunch of people, and I thought of it as a resource where I could get answers to my questions, for instance, but did not quite explore it until 2023, when I believe that was in Nashville at SolidWorks World. I was asked to give a presentation on SolidWorks, and for the first time, I met people like me, like you, Jonny and Kirby,
Yeah.
and whose sort of day begins and ends with SolidWorks and are really passionate users. And I'm like, man, I want to be a part of this group. And I still remember I talked to Joe, I believe, at that point, and I asked him, how do I become a part of this group? And he said, just there's this application, just fill it out and send it, and I'm pretty sure you'll be in. So I became a part of the Champions group in 2023. So yeah, so that's sort of my journey in brief.
And then a year later, took the champion of the
people who not only help you troubleshoot the issues that you're having, but are there to sort of support you in your design journey as well, like be it certification, be it let's say you're having some issue with your design, or maybe with some procurement of something. All you need to do is just connect to this particular group, and you have your problem solved.
I mean, I've got the prime example of this. Brandon, he's actually in the chat there, Mr. Muffin Fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
He got himself Maker's Edition because he wanted to play around with X Design. And every time he would create his design, he would close X Design or close 3D Experience platform. He'll go back in. All of his work was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Basically wasn't saving. And I told him there's a SolidWorks WhatsApp group that you can join.
Right.
He jumped in there. He posted the problem. Someone replied to him to help him out. And the fact that this was a guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he's one of the developers of X Design.
Right.
Who sat down and got into a private chat with Brandon to solve this problem.
Right.
If I'm having an issue in Photoshop, I'm not going to have a developer of Adobe sitting chatting to me in WhatsApp. I'm not going to have access to hundreds of people. I need to try to find a Reddit. And even in the Reddit, you get lost. The staff is in there helping. There's people answering those questions for you. So yes, it is a community of people that help each other, because we're all just trying to create cool stuff.
And it's also like the unique aspect about SolidWorks is that they listen to you. Like when you mention that this is going to be an important feature, you got to filleting those multiple edges in multiple bodies, for instance, right? Like, do you remember how the crowd went ooh when it was announced, right?
I'm still waiting for it, because I'm a monster when I design. I do multiple bodies. I'll model something with like 60 bodies. I want to fillet them all. Brandon just said his name was Dino, who helped him out.
Oh, yeah, Dino, like the SolidWorks Champion, or was it was he the Dassault System employee?
I would think it was Dino, the champion. In the group.
Yeah, so I think it's something that sets SolidWorks apart, is the fact that they're so open to having conversations with the users and sort of improve the software.
I mean, one of my user group meetings, I had one of the R&D guys come. And it's one of my favorite stories, because I said, would you like to present? It's like, well, he's not going to present anything, but he would like to get people's feedback. So I was like, okay, cool. I said, do you need space for presentation? He says, no. Stood up at the little podium with a little notebook. And that's all he says. Cool. What are your guys' problems? About 90% of the people saying, oh, whenever I try and do this, this happens. Or I keep getting this bug. And 90% of what he said, it says there's been a fix to that. And this is how you apply it. It's done in this version. And then all the ones that he's like, I actually didn't know about that. He got that person's contact detail and wanted to help them as well.
Takes some nuts to stand up in the front of a room, no presentation, and go, tell me your issues. And if I can't solve them, I will.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing of the user group is amazing, because it puts you next to these employees. And I think my first time going to 3D Experience World, my first time going to SolidWorks event was a customer event. They were launching SolidWorks 2016, I think. And I went to Boston to one of their launch events, and
like the beta testing, or
no, it was they did it for like 3 years. In September,
I see.
It's kind of like mini world.
Oh, okay.
And I went to that, and being sat at a table with GP, CEO of SolidWorks, I was blown away. I was like, I'm having breakfast with the CEO of SolidWorks.
Yeah.
And then talking with so many people, and then we went bowling and then went to the pub, and I was speaking to someone. And I was like, I'm really in the 3D printing side of stuff. And they're like, tell me more about this. How can we help the 3D printing community? Your makers. What can we do to appeal to makers? And starting the conversation with just look at what Fusion's doing. Do that.
Right.
Just do that, and people will be happy.
Yeah.
And they really are starting to do that. I mean, even just having the student edition for free is incredible. It's getting people's hands on it. I mean, I'm going to be honest here, those people that do get those free copies, or even a pirated version, one day that could be someone that goes into industry and helps change the world.
I started with the free education license.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've clawed their money back massively with my yearly subscriptions now.
It's just same in university. I was in university, in our CAD classes, we're being taught Unigraphics NX to do product design. And it was a lot of shit. To be honest, we did not enjoy it. And one of the mechanical engineers that I was staying with, he's like, try SolidWorks. Installed it into my computer, tried it, started making things and rendering it, and handed that in as my submission. My lecturers were blown away. How did you create these? How did you render these? I was like, SolidWorks. It's you guys have access to it. And the next year, they introduced SolidWorks as part of the syllabus, and got rid of NX because they realized that's where they should be.
And I totally get what you were saying before about a team of engineers hanging on to SolidWorks and why they didn't want to change to NX. I don't entertain jobs that aren't SolidWorks.
You can totally relate to that, right? Because it's so much of pain point. For example, the SWG-in network, right? You have access to such best practices and training. It's there everywhere. Any city you go to look it up, you'll probably have a SWG-in network there, right? So access to experts, access to training, and sort of company listening back to you and sort of implementing these are some of the key things that make SolidWorks stand apart. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, even your company allowing you to go to events like 3D Experience World, or even just customer events by the resellers to, hey, I'm going to this tips and tricks event. Taking something back that's going to save you 10 seconds, you implement that across your entire team.
Exactly. It sort of increases your productivity multiple times, right? And you sort of know what's in the next release, and you're sort of planning for all of that ahead of time. And
the network's invaluable as well. Real world example from us, we've got issues with our PDM system, and I'm like, I know a guy. I was like, I just ring Tom. I was like, Tom, I need hand with this PDM stuff. It's not my cup of tea, and I need someone to come in and fix it. And Tom's just like, yeah, be glad to. You let me know when and where, and I'll be there. But without them connections that you wouldn't have with other softwares or systems or whatever, there's nothing like it.
I when I was in my master's, I had this mentor who sort of instilled in me the importance of community. I still remember. So we used to have he used to sort of mentor a lot of students, and we used to have a session every Saturday or something like that. And so this is if you know anything about India, the education system, that it's intensely competitive. It's it's crazy, right? So you sort of work hard, study hard to sort of get into a good university, stuff like that. And so you're so full of yourself when you enter a prestigious university. You sort of think that, oh yeah, look at this, I achieved this kind of thing. So that was the kind of the setting. And he sort of mentioned that your success is not really yours, because there's so many people contributed to it. The entire community contributed to it, because you have your parents who sort of help you, give you a room, help you with so many things. Then even when you go and write the exam, there's the rickshaw guy who takes you to the examination center. What if he doesn't show up on time. You have good pens, you have good tools, you have good paper to write your examination on. So he sort of like opened up our minds to this possibility of how, just because society functions, which is not to be taken for granted, right? It owes a lot to your success, right? And I see that in SolidWorks too. Like I strongly feel that it's not just a design software; it's a community, and the successes that companies have by implementing their designs, it's all thanks to this community. And one of the best ways to give back to the community is to join the Swagian group or be a champion, I feel.
Yeah, and I think what's super fascinating, and like realistically, a lot of the champions, especially all the people who go to 3D Experience World, are all Americans. SolidWorks is an American company, so it makes a lot of sense. But from that, the network and the champions network has grown so much that we're now kind of getting involved with so many people from around the world and from different backgrounds, different cultures, and all that stuff. And I've always found that that's super fascinating because you can learn from it. It's something Electra said to me, is that depending on what your surrounding is, that's what you're going to engineer for. Those are the problems you're going to solve. So It does mean, for example, if you're in Europe, you're solving completely different problems as to, for example, us in South Africa. We're trying to solve South African issues. I'm sure there's issues in India that you would be solving versus the problems that you're solving now at Bowhead. Like even being involved in Bowhead, learning more about the disabled community and kind of what they actually need and what many people don't see. You're able to kind of change that, even though it's just, it's not a lot of people see what's being done. You're doing an impressive job because you're around people that not a lot of people are exposed to. So being part of those champions kind of helps out a lot.
That's right. Yeah. When you mentioned about the Adapt2 community, just to sort of give an example of how good design can change the lives of the people, is like when we go on a bike ride, right? Like if as much as the chain sort of slips, all we do is get off the bike, put the chain back, and we can ride, or we can just come back home, right, and like repair the bike. But the Adapt2 community can't, right? So the product quality and reliability has to be 10 times of what you would want it to be normally, because something like a chain slip happens, they're stranded, right? So I always say that for good design, to enable good design, you should have really good tools, right? Like you can't cut with a blunt knife, for instance, right? And SolidWorks and 3D Experience are those tools that help you create these designs by just removing all the barriers and the support community that we talked so much about, and also future proofing, right? I think AI is going to play a huge part here too, because Dassault Systems is one of those companies that listen to you, and they are always technologically savvy, implementing new systems and workflows to help you become more and more productive. So yeah, it's not a small thing to invest in the right tools.
I'll be honest, I never thought of what happens if a chain comes off on one of these bikes.
It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? It's not as,
it's like,
it has to be really, really well built and really well designed, because you can't afford for the little annoying things for me or you, Kirby, or it isn't an annoyance, it's a stranded person.
I think one of the most because I've got the thing here, one of the most fascinating things that you created, and something that's just been normal, is you essentially reinvented the caster wheel.
Oh yeah, the hubless one, yeah.
Like I haven't had the opportunity to really kind of chat about what. I think I'm on the wrong page here.
No, it's I think if you go caster wheels, there it is.
We go. Yeah. So I haven't had the proper opportunity to kind of really ask, kind of, how does this caster wheel make a difference, for example? Because similar to kind of the chain, it's not a problem that I would think would be a problem.
So if you ask any wheelchair user, their caster wheels are stuck with, hair and fabric, and it's a huge mess. And it's not something that happens over the years. It happens like within days, months even, especially in North America, where you have like carpeted floors, like the fabric it's easy to like sort of wind onto the hub, and then it gets to a point where you'll have to spend a lot of effort trying to wheel your chair, because it sort of binds the caster. So this is where we thought that, okay, let's come up with a hubless caster. So it just has a bearing, and then like there's essentially no way for any of that fabric to get caught and bind. All that does is the fabric does enter the tiny gaps, and then it just becomes powder, fine powder. So it's like, it's essentially a maintenance-free caster, if you will.
It's incredible. Like it's such a small little thing, but like,
yeah,
but why is people just dealt with casters for so long when this is the solution? You guys have spent some time and developed it.
Yeah, I mean, it really helps that Christian, he also uses a wheelchair, and he sort of he faces all of these difficulties. He has so many ideas to make the lives of the adaptive community better, and we're just trying to implement his vision, right? But it's one of those things that once you see, you can't unsee, because and you sort of get an eye to look at, okay, what are the problems these people are having? Take, for instance, I'm not sitting right, I'm standing, but like take, for instance, the seat that you're sitting on, right? So we have different kinds of chairs, right? We have like a dining table, we have a sofa where we can relax, and we have like a bar table and like a bar seat, and it's for different postures, right? And having different postures is really healthy. But think about the people who are on wheelchairs. They are sitting in the same posture throughout their lives. It's not healthy. It's not safe, right?
And they can't essentially just kind of like adjust too easily or anything like that.
Yeah, and even, I mean, it might also be related to a particular injury, their injury level, that they might have to sit in a particular posture. But it would be so much better if there were designs that allowed, for instance, your seat on the wheelchair to be like, for example, when you come to office, you put an office seat back on your wheelchair. When you go home and you're dining, maybe you put a different one. Like the ability to sort of cater to the needs of the people and not have the people fit the product is essentially what we're trying to do here at Bowhead. Another example is, like, let's say we want to play tennis. All we have to do is just go to the court, right? Take a tennis racket and start playing, or the same thing with the basketball, for instance. But for people who are in wheelchairs, they need to think about, okay, how am I going to get there? Number one, do I have the wheelchair to play that sport? And with our Bowhead Era, it's a wheelchair that converts into a sport wheelchair with just one accessory. So not only does it remove the stress out of it, but it's also a high quality product, right? And it's the essence is essentially to make people's lives easier and help them, get outdoors as much as possible, enjoy life, just like everybody deserves to.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to live their days just as best as everybody. I know Christian, he's in a wheelchair because of an accident, and he wanted to carry on riding in the mountains. He said, well, I'm just going to build something that allows me to do it. And obviously he's not the only person that wanted that, and he's built an entire business out of this, and he's got a great set of people like yourself that are kind of like believe in his visions. Like, he's living it firsthand, and you're helping him, make his life better, but also thousands of other people as well.
Sort of goes back to the entire world as a community, like it's we're all in this together, right? So
yeah, it's interesting. The school I went to, its motto was I serve, kind of like you serve communities. And I never really understood that in the school kind of thing, or understood it until I left school and started getting involved in SOLIDWORKS communities and some woodworking communities, 3D printing communities I got involved with. I've now got a new crack addiction known as Magic the Gathering and getting involved in that community, because Pokemon is very difficult to get hold of. Even just like I do cross stitch when I'm in my spare time, and even being involved in that community and seeing what people are doing, just and helping each other and learning from each other. It's just,
I've never considered there is a cross stitch community out there, and there's a community for so many things that you wouldn't think of.
So yeah, it's you might not be involved with that community, but they're out there and being involved. And the SOLIDWORKS community is amazing, and the champions. But kind of, what do you feel it means to be a champion? Because I feel like a champion could be so many different people, but it's the same thing, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. No. That's a very good question, a very valid one. I feel for a SolidWorks champion, it's really important to be passionate about all things SolidWorks, and not just be passionate about it. Sort of channel that passion both internally in your organization and externally, right? And sort of again goes back to what we were mentioning about community, right? And sort of give back to community at large, not just SolidWorks, but across the world, like what you were mentioning, Kirby, as to like, what is this community doing? How can I help them, right? So what that does is it sort of makes the world maybe a tiny bit better. It's sort of like going back to the what my mentor told us. It's sort of our way of saying that, yes, I'm part of this crazy big universe, this crazy community, and it's just one way of me participating in that, right? There's this interesting concept in Hinduism, which says that the whole universe is like a yajna. Yajna essentially means like a sacrifice, like a fire sacrifice, a fire ritual. And the belief was you invoke the fire and you sort of put stuff in the fire, like offerings in the fire, like the fire is considered divine, right? Sacred. And based on your offerings, you're going to get something in return. And that is how like they sort of treated divinity, is like it's like a give and take relationship. And there's this concept in Hinduism which says that is how the entire world is. The entire world is actually a sacrifice. You give something, you get something in return, right? There's no free lunches in nature, essentially. So I feel it is sort of similar to that. So and Simon Sinek, who I follow, he essentially says that there's this entire section in a bookstore about how to help yourself, right? Self-help, but there's nothing about how to help others. And it's really by helping others, you're actually helping yourself. It's sort of, the world has this amazing way of giving back to you what you give to the world multiple times, right? And I feel SolidWorks champions, to be a champion, it's sort of recognizing that you are a part of this holistic, this whole, and you contribute your knowledge, whatever be it. There is some way of, maybe you discovered a productive way, a productive workflow. Talk about it. Maybe you found something in SolidWorks that could be improved. Talk about it. Yeah. So I feel it's sort of channeling your passion both internally in the organization and externally. What do you think? When you're also full of champions, what's your definition of a solid champion?
I mean, I agree with what you say there in terms of kind of the more you give to the community, you get more back. And when I used to do quite a bit of YouTube videos on the props and that I used to make from video games and 3D print them, the amount of people that be like, oh, make this next, make this. And I would rather say, go watch this YouTube playlist, download the software, go make it yourself. I'd rather have someone go and learn and go make things themselves than me, them paying me to make it for them. Even in my most recent kind of little video that I made on Instagram, just talking about the Champions program, as well as showing off the practice database that SolidWorks had posted, saying like, use this, learn from it, this will help you. And some people message me, it's like, oh, can you teach me SolidWorks? And I'll be like, no, but go to these channels, Tutor Toby, and I think the other one is Arian, designed by SolidWorks. I think that's the channel. Said, go watch these guys and you'll learn everything you need to know from them. because everybody else needs to start somewhere. I remember first looking at SolidWorks and like, I'll make a square, put some fillets. I'm like, yeah, cool.
Why do you think? So like Simon Sinek also says like start with why, right? Like what is your why? Because he says that is going to the core of any organization. So what do you think is the why for SolidWorks Champions?
I think it's because we just want to, we're so passionate about it. We want to be around people who are just as passionate from us, and we want to kind of learn from each other, show each other some cool stuff. One thing I've never found, there's no competition amongst champions or user group leaders.
Right.
No one's trying to say I'm the best.
Right.
It's kind of like I always feel like there's I feel like I'm kind of proficient in SolidWorks, but there's always someone who's better than me. I'm kind of always, wow, that's amazing, that's incredible. I want to learn from you.
It's not competition. It's people that genuinely are interested in what each other are doing and want to see different ways of applying the same tools and what people can come up with different minds using one common piece of software for a kind of common goal of success and growth and development.
I agree with you, and I think the SolidWorks, by creating all these platforms of Swagin or Champions, it sort of made contributing to other person's success, be it through training or sharing best practices or all the different modes that you talked about, is that you sort of feel involved in that person, and that is why I feel there's no competition, even though you have like Model Mania and stuff like that. It's fun, right? It's not. I
guess that's where it's competitive.
Yeah, but it's not. There's no.
It's a healthy competitive.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that is what, like, again, going back to Simon Sinek, he sort of says that if you help somebody else, for example, if you're in a coffee shop, just an act of kindness, you go to try and buy coffee and say, can you also get the person behind me whatever he wants and bill it on my credit card, for instance. He just did this as a thought experiment. And the joy on the other person's face when they get whatever their coffee or whatever it is that they're having, it's priceless, right? And it sort of goes back to the fundamental being of humanity at its core. Like we're meant to live for others, really. And I think SolidWorks community through its platform does that, right? You sort of become involved in other person's design journey, what have you. And that is why I feel that is the why I see.
I mean, it was one of the CEOs, someone had said it at 3D Experience World, so you look at this room, look at these people. These are the people that are changing the world right now.
Yes.
So, sure, you guys are making wheelchairs. Most of the CAD stuff I make is jigs and rigs for customers 3D printed stuff. Johnny's making safety rigs for oil and gas industries. Like, you're in a room with SpaceX engineers that are changing how space travel is going. You're in there with people that are in the medical industry that are changing people's lives. There was it's just there's so many people in different places, but it's always fascinating to learn from each other. And
it reminds me of what you said a few moments ago as to how, like, you were sitting next to GP. Like, can anybody imagine that? Like, you're brushing shoulders with the CEO, with the vice presidents of this huge organization. It's unheard of. Like Manish and GP and Suchit, they're all so down to earth, and they hear you. Like whenever you talk to them, I've noticed that they give you their full attention.
Manish is an incredible CEO. He doesn't walk around in a suit. He wears the hoodies, all that stuff. He's there for you. Manish shaved my beard. Like it's weird. Like, he's the CEO, but I don't see him as that. I see him as a champion.
Yeah, totally. And like he was there from like the very beginning, right? Like he says that there's probably still some code that he wrote living in SolidWorks, right? He yeah, it's amazing to see his journey. He's like, they're all so inspirational.
So yeah, it's like you look back at what does it mean to be a champion. It's just you're helping everybody that you can. You're helping each other.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you want you're doing it because that's what you enjoy most.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that is the why, the core why is because you sort of like get the pleasure, get the satisfaction of helping others, which I don't think any other, and this is something which is close to people, right? People work on designs, people engineer like, I don't know, 40 hours a week, and you're able to use that knowledge and sort of help somebody else, which is, yeah.
And like
amazing.
What I find, for example, 3D Experience platform as well as such as X Design, they don't have the history of data online from forums and problems and videos of I'm having this issue, how do I fix it? That's kind of like it's the problem with a new software, and it's getting better, it's developing and that stuff.
Yes.
But nowadays, the amount of tiny little problems, I'll just jump onto an AI thing and be like, how can I fix this? I mean, I did it for my boiler. I took pictures of my boiler and it's like, I'm not getting any pressure. What's going wrong? It told me what the problem was. I then got hold of the gas man. I was like, can you replace this part? Guy came in, looked at it. It's like, yes, it is that part. I wonder how many people would go to AI versus going to a blog post or, a community to get those problems in the future. Will AI replace that community?
That's a very interesting question, because the way I see it is a lot of this AI is also trained on forums, right? Like, it'll sort of look at, okay, what problem has what solution in a Reddit post or whatever. That can also make it really good. Also, it can also take it in a really bad direction. I feel, again, this is my personal opinion. I feel as we head into this AI future, being human, the human qualities will be more and more valuable. For instance, when you take up the phone and like you were calling your internet service provider or something, they immediately put you on a robo thing, like press 1 for this, press 2 for this. How annoying is that, right? And you always shout, connect me to an agent, connect me to an agent. Why? Because even though the AI is really smart and can probably help you, it's not the same as talking to a human being, right? For instance, let's say I send you an email, and reading that email, you clearly see that it's been written by an AI, for instance. How would that make you feel? Less valued, right? Because it's an automated response. It's sort of like responding to a human with your own words would be an equivalent of making, gift with your own hands on their birthday or on Christmas, for instance.
Yeah,
it's priceless. It's it's very valuable, right? And so I feel that is why, even though the AI can actually help diagnose, the boiler example that you mentioned, I feel that people will still connect. The community will be more relevant, if not less, just because of that human connection. The ability to, pat somebody on the shoulder and go have a beer the way we do at World, right? That is what makes us human, that no AI can replace.
I'd love to see AI drink as much as me and Jonny.
It would be
What are
falling
your
off
thoughts
the
on
computer
this?
screen.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this too. What do you think?
This comes up a lot of work. AI is a massive thing at work at the minute. We're looking at doing like a chatbot for sales to get engineering help for common questions. So we get questions, we answer them, we put them into the chatbot. The next time someone asks, it spits out an answer. Really valuable, saves engineering time, ultimately saves probably one of the most expensive resources, time, means money saving. Totally on board with that kind of style of stuff. Similar to you, I prefer dealing with a person. Someone sent me an email the other day, which was very clearly ChatGPT, and I was just like, I'm not even going to read it until you actually bother sending me the correct thing. And it was wrong. It was wrong. It was about a junction box that had no cable entries at all, and it suggested alternatives that had cable entries. I was like, well, you're on about a long side and a short side. It's a completely square box. Like, come back to me when you've at least read the answer and sense checked it. So I see value in it for things and bits and pieces.
For mundane stuff,
yeah,
repetitive stuff,
yeah, exactly. But other stuff, no.
Part of my role is managing the maintenance of our industrial 3D printers at work. So there's a WhatsApp chat that I have with one of the level 4 engineers at HP. So if there's a problem, I take a picture of the error code. He helps me troubleshoot it if it's something different, but it's those repetitive ones. There's one that we get for a build platform that comes up every 6 months for each build unit. We've got 28 build units, which means statistically we get 3 to 4 of those a month. And we want to basically build a chatbot that analyzes all of the kind of history of the cases that we open and the problems and how we solve that, so that when that error pops up, we can just type that in, and then the AI bot will reference what we've done in the past, as well as referencing the service manual to help us kind of set up how to proceed next, versus opening up that document, looking in the code and searching through emails to try and track the history of it. Especially for the cases that are not so common, but we've seen before. So I think it will be useful for in day-to-day jobs like that. But when there is genuinely a problem that is completely unique, that I've got to quickly, put together this weird contraption of bolts and nuts to keep it together to allow it to fix. Like, AI is just not going to help me with that. And the human conversation of like, will this cowboy botch job work? Do you approve before I press play on this machine? But yeah, I do feel like simple things, it will help in terms of. I think the one of the new things that comes up is when you get an error on SolidWorks, you can go to an AI chatbot to help solve it, versus going to a page, so you can actually ask those questions. That would be amazing when you're learning.
AI is actually really great for like learning. I'm actually pursuing a master's, a part-time master's right now, and some of the things that like I read the textbooks and I'm like, okay, this is interesting, I want to explore more. And instead of just Googling it, I open a chatbot and I sort of type in my own words what I learned from the textbook, and I sort of ask it to sort of poke holes at my understanding. And you actually come back richer. I really like the way you can use AI for learning stuff or getting better at stuff, and I totally see how that is valid even for learning software like SolidWorks.
I mean, you can easily use AI as that kind of secondary tutor to kind of be like, this is what I'm trying to read. It's not going in. Just explain it to me like I'm a 3-year-old.
Right.
And it really does help doing that kind of stuff of just, I'm still not getting it. Just please help out. And it's sometimes the human connection can help do that, but sometimes AI is pretty good at helping out with that kind of stuff.
I feel like if we see,
but it can be wrong.
It can be wrong, totally. Like if we see today, like the community today, the forums, the online forums today are mostly troubleshooting little issues like this, right? Like what you correctly mentioned about like the thing that you described about, okay, this has already been solved, use AI to sort of, help let that come back to the surface, right? Right now, we're not there yet, but I definitely see AI helping the exact same thing. And then I see this community sort of helping with, creative problems, for instance. And this is where humans shine, right? Like AI is only trained on existing data. To create something new, something from scratch, for instance, it struggles with it. And this is where I feel that community sort of maybe becomes a true design troubleshooting community. Maybe it helps you enable that creativity, unleash that creativity and other potentials that only humans have, right? And think about how quickly we can now converge on solutions that are really unique. Without AI, you're sort of having maybe 5 iterations to arrive at your solution, and you stop at iteration number 5 because maybe your project schedule demands it, right? But with AI, you're able to go 5, 6, 7 iterations really quickly, and then you use your human ingenuity and like creativity to come up with, to sort of go the next run. What I'm trying to say is essentially you have incremental innovations, right? You have, you only increment it little by little. That incremental innovation AI is good at. You can quickly iterate through the incremental innovation to sort of come up with something that's really unique, using human intellect, of course. So I can definitely see the communities helping and assisting in that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we said at World, I think it was this year or last year, that you look at the Artemis rocket and how many times they tested that in a virtual environment before they launched it, versus the Apollo missions where they actually had to build something to test it.
Right.
Because they never had virtual environments to test. Everything was tested like physically.
Right.
You know, it sounds a bit scary that everything was simulated, but it's just so good at simulating things.
Yeah.
You're able to simulate hundreds of thousands of launches with a computer overnight versus building thousands of rockets and hoping one of them doesn't blow up so you can actually use the data or, actually get a successful mission out of it. So it really has its place, but it's also scary of kind of what it would replace. I mean, like I've got it written down here that like 3D CAD got rid of 2D drawings. I mean, you don't get people doing hand drawings as, like you said at the start, you were taught hand drawing. I was taught engineering drawing as well. That's where I started. Then I moved to 3D.
Right.
But people are just jumping straight into 3D and going to 2D versus 2D to 3D.
Yeah, like I feel that we're in this transition phase right now. I mean, it's really early days for AI, but like, let me give you a parallel example. 150 years ago, before cars became a thing, before automobiles became a thing, you had horses, draw carriages, right? And so you needed so much skill. You needed, obviously it was not efficient. The horse needed fodder, the horse needed rest, right? And you had to learn how to treat a horse, how to ride a horse, etc. When that transition happened to automobile, now you started horse riding just for pleasure, for instance, right? I see something of that sort happening when this transition completely happens. Now, there's definitely an intermediate phase where there were still horses around, there were still automobiles around, right? And something happened to your automobile, you had to call a guy with a horse, for instance, right? Because the technology was not ubiquitous enough that there were no, for example, repair shops, or it was not well known that somebody couldn't fix a broken automobile, for instance. But after that happened, after that transition happened, you don't need to know how to learn how to ride a horse. Something happens to you now, you can like call an Uber, or you can easily repair it, stuff like that. So I feel like when that transition happens, so I think we are in that sort of transition, or that transition has happened for 2D and 3D, where 3D is there everywhere, but 2D is, maybe some niche industries are still using it, right? But maybe, I don't know, 5%, 10% of all of the CAD utilization. But when something breaks in 3D right now, you still have the tools and the wherewithals to sort of, correct stuff, right? So I see that when we transition to that sort of a level in with AI, I don't know what that future would be. I don't know if it's like abundance future, like a utopian future, or a dystopian future. It's really hard to say, because I feel the reality is somewhere in the middle, right? It can't be those extremes. So when that does happen, I feel we'll have so much more stuff accessible to us that we wouldn't really, you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah. I mean, there's a conversation I had with one of the guys from the Hacksmith about how he uses AI now to do all of his coding. He's done coding for 10 years. He's sick of it. And he'd rather get an AI bot to write it for him. He's got the experience to be able to look over it and read. So if there's problems, he can troubleshoot it. It's very easy. He knows what's going on. but it means that that time he would have spent writing that code, he can now either push the project through faster, or he can focus on maybe designing what that's going into. And yeah, it's that kind of thing of it will help speed up. I mean, I know some of the guys in our customer service team, when we get those people, we call them, they got the napkin idea. They phone up, so I got this great idea. We got to make this, kind of thing. We're like, cool, just give me some rough dimensions, all that stuff, what it kind of looks like. They kind of type that out into one of those AI mesh generators, and they create a rough mesh on it, put that into the quote system, said, cool, it's going to cost this much. Now here's some contacts for some designers that can actually make this for you. And just doing that quoting system, that quoting way of just generating things in AI has been super helpful for them.
No, this is amazing. I want to touch upon an insight that you brought. Like you mentioned that this person who was using AI to code sort of knew what it was doing, and he could like correct it if things went awry. That is going to be an important skill going forward, I think, because when AI sort of automates a lot of stuff and things break down, like really knowing how to like lift the hood of your car and like tinkering with it to get it started again is going to be an important skill. And this is something I think about and I worry is to like, when we are still in that transition period, we should, like, I don't know how long it is going to take, 15 years, 20 years, we should be able to teach the next generation how to do that exact thing. For example, I learned how to sketch using a pencil and a paper, right? Like engineering drawings. But the kids today don't. They don't learn that. But I feel that is something we should teach them, not so that they can create drawings based on paper. We don't want to go back to the past, but it sort of helps you retain that visualization, helps you think critically. I feel that your design skills are that much improved. So we shouldn't lose those things. Maybe universities teach it. Maybe maybe we talk about it at World. You still use technology, but you also sort of know what needs to be done when something breaks.
I mean, I've seen this at work where I was taught 2D engineering drawing, and I remember the class where it all snapped, it all clicked, where I looked at the 3 different angles and was able to just see the object in my mind and be like, it snapped. It was amazing.
That is a superpower going forward.
And like now I'm in an industry that's just 3D, and we're starting to do threaded inserts, and with that, those companies are sending us 2D drawings. And some of the people that have spent so many hours and hours in CAD and Fusion and different CAD softwares, they get this drawing and they're like, it doesn't make sense to them because they can't visualize it. So I've had to show them, this is first angle, third angle, orthographic, isometric, and all that kind of stuff. Because they don't use drawings, because they just design something in 3D, chuck it in a 3D printer, and they've got the object. They don't need that. So there is that kind of knowledge that's lost a little bit, but it still exists for some people. I think for CNC machining, injection molding, a lot of traditional manufacturing still uses it.
I have a question along the similar lines. Like, are there certain aspects of design, be it CAD modeling or maybe drawing, that you enjoy that you wouldn't want to give over to AI, for instance, even if that capability exists? What I'm trying to say is, or where I'm trying to go with this is, like, I belong to the generation that listened to the music using cassettes. Like now vinyl is making a huge comeback, but I had cassettes. I had my own collection. Also, like the reel-based photography was a huge thing, where you had 32 or 36 photos, and you like really waited to take your shot for the perfect conditions. You didn't waste it.
You didn't see it for months in time.
And you have now you have these devices that, like, you can access music, you can access photos whenever you want. But you still have, in spite of all this technology, you still have people who are now listening to vinyl, who still drive manual or automatic just for the pleasure of it, right? Just for the value that it provides. So do you see that when in the future, when things are all automated by AI, would you then maybe create a drawing just because it gives you the joy and sort of helps you think through? For example, I really like creating drawings. I know a lot of people don't. I really like creating drawings, thinking through the tolerances, giving GD&T, for instance. It's my flow state, and is there something that is similar to you and something that you enjoy?
If I need to CAD up something that's very simple, like I've recently CAD'd up these little holders for my play mats, and that. And it's just 2 circles and a flat thing. 5 minutes in CAD.
Right.
But like I'm busy playing with this handle idea.
Right.
It's just really wild. This was a lot of fun because that was hours of figuring out how am I going to bend these shapes around each other, around these sweeps.
Right.
And that's really fun. I think if I can automate that,
right,
which
automate
in a
the
way I
mundane,
kind of do in terms of I just go, sometimes if I'll make something, if I need to make something, I'll just go straight onto one of the like Maker World. I'll look for it there and I'll print it versus it's kind of like automating it. But if there's something that doesn't exist or something that needs my little, something specific on it, I think then I'd enjoy sitting there making something. It's that, I think there's that ADHD brain where you've got this idea and you get this surge of energy to get it complete. You spend time in CAD and you complete it, chuck it in a printer that can knock it out in 2 hours and you've got it and you're installing it. It completes that cycle. It gets so exciting. I mean, I've got projects on the floor here that there's part of it there that I haven't completed because it's taken so long to get to that point. Now I'm kind of like, next project. It just needs gluing. I just need to glue it, but I'm kind of like, so yeah, I find if AI can help speed up that process for an ADHD brain, you'll complete more projects than half-ass them in kind of what I do in the end.
Yeah. How about you, Jonny?
Mixed reviews. You'll have guessed I'm a fan of some sides of AI and not other sides. I enjoy doing drawings. I enjoy modeling stuff. I enjoy thinking of ideas. And much like you, I enjoy doing a drawing because it actually gives me a chance to sense check, is it actually machinable? Can I actually achieve it?
Yeah.
And that kind of side of things. And I think there's a lot of stuff coming with drawing AI and add-ins of, you set a template up once and you say, hey, I want you to make this drawing in this template of this new part that you've used AI to help iterate. And that there is an element of, I think, especially for the newer generations coming through, if there's always that reliance on AI will come up with a new idea for me or it'll adapt it to make it work, that they will lose the skill of taking it from paper to machine.
Yeah, totally. But I do see that happening more and more where, like exactly what you mentioned, Kirby, as to some of those mundane things, let AI handle it. But some of the other things that you so enjoy, like drawing creation or maybe ideating something, or maybe something's really tough and you enjoy that as an intellectual challenge. Even though you have all the AI tools at your disposal, you'll still want to spend your time and effort to really hone that. And I think those would also be really valuable to community at large, just from going back to our conversation about what was created using AI versus what had a human element to it, right? The human element would always be more valuable. So yeah, I at least I see, I don't know how long that future will take, 15 years, 20 years, or maybe it'll be here in the next 5 years, who knows?
I mean, as Brandon says, Claude to him is like having a smart best friend that knows exactly what he's talking about and how could help me during bring life to ideas. I mean, just thinking of that, essentially being part of the Champions Network is like having access to one of the most powerful SOLIDWORKS design AI platform, except it's run by humans. I think Jonny said his little one is he's kicking off, so he might jump off now, man, to go and help his wife there. But that's all good. But no, it's interesting. Like I said, we've lost 2D but it still kind of exists, and there's nostalgia to it. And it's the advantage of having the variety of people in the Champions Network, from people who have retired and have been engineering for well over 50 years to people that are fresh out of university, and you put those people in a room together, and there's no like back in my day kind of thing. Everybody's like fascinated about each other's past and each other's future.
Right. Yeah, which is really, again,
see each other succeed.
I can't think of any other forum where such a thing is possible. Can you? Maybe
not really. Not in the same capacity. Yeah. Like I said, I'm part of like a couple of cross-stitch Facebook groups, and I'm in one of those very, very minority dudes that do cross-stitch. But there's no like, not everybody kind of does it exactly the same way. So you kind of get it with the 3D printing communities, because of kind of the people that built their own machines and had like A1s that would set fire if you looked at it wrong, to what the Bamboo Labs are like now. But now everybody's using a Bamboo Labs. You get a little bit of that back in my day, kind of thing. But I don't see it existing as it does in SolidWorks, where everybody is helping each other. You get a new person coming into the Bamboo Labs community or the 3D printing community saying, oh, I'm having a problem with this. And so many people in the community being like, oh, why don't you just Google it? Or why don't you watch a video? You know, what a stupid question. There's none of that in SolidWorks. It's like a new person, hey, I'm struggling to put a fillet. Hey, let's help you out.
Right. Like what you're saying is it's more than, it's not really a hobby group, because like it's in a hobby group, you sort of become restricted like that, right? This is more than that. Hobby groups have passion, but I'm not able to like pinpoint it exactly, but this is like more than that, right?
Yeah, because there's in the hobby groups, there's like there's a lot of elitist people, but there's none of that in the Champions or in the SolidWorks community itself. There's no one that's saying like SolidWorks is the better. I mean, like if you use Fusion, that's fantastic. That's what you're comfortable with. Whenever I talk about the things that I create, you can make this in Fusion as well. You can make that in OpenCAD, all that kind of stuff. But if we focus on the bigger picture, and that's creating things, that's the more important thing to be concerned about, not what tools you're using. I mean, it's kind of like I still want to do this one day at World, but it's Lego does it where you get 10 bricks and everybody's told to make a duck. You have 100 people make a duck with these same 10 bricks. You're going to end up with 100 ducks, but every single one of them made differently. It's the same thing you can do in SolidWorks.
Right. Yeah.
You ask 100 engineers, 3D model a duck, you're going to get 100 ducks, but every single feature tree is going to be different. Every single sketch is going to be different. Everyone's vision of what a duck looks like is going to be different, but they use the same tool. They made different ducks, but it's a duck. So, yeah. But I do think I got one last question for you, kind of, and this is kind of around 3D Experience World. Let's pose it as two, kind of like, why do you think it's important for someone to go to 3D Experience World?
Oh, wow. The way I would put it is, you don't know until you go to one. You know, the first one that I went to was in 2023 in Nashville, and man, my mind was blown. Like, to be honest, I don't know anybody who knows how to throw a party like SolidWorks. It's one huge party, but it's not just partying. It's also a lot of learning, collaboration. You come back with so much great ideas. You meet people that are literally like you, as I mentioned before, like their day starts and ends with SolidWorks, and they're like passionate about the same things. Like I saw the Millennium Falcon in the background of your the core podcast thing. I saw Narnia, right? So it's people love to nerd out about the same things, you know.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like I've heard people who say that it is their one break, that is the time of the year that they enjoy the most, where they're with friends, they may be working for competitor companies. They might be competing with each other at work, but when they come together at world, they're like one huge family. And it's enjoying to the max, it's learning to the max, it's everything to the max. And
yeah, it's like you said, it's everybody's there because of SolidWorks, but everybody has their own passions, and it's never rung true that like a lot of the people that I've connected with are because of like something like Star Wars. Or one of the most fascinating moments I ever had was it was in 2019. They had like a Lego table, and everybody's sitting around building Lego, just a pile of white bricks. So we're just busy building, and I'm chatting to this guy next to me, talking about my favorite Lego sets and the sets that I own and always wanted, holy grails, all that kind of stuff. We spoke for about half an hour about Lego. Not once did we talk about what we do.
Right.
It was only when he left to go to a session, I saw his badge. He was an engineer for SpaceX.
Right.
And there's me, a guy who just 3D prints stuff.
Right.
But we didn't talk about SolidWorks. That's what was amazing, the fascinating, talking about Lego and connecting over that. So, but what advice would you give to a first timer that would want to go? It's kind of similar to what you've said already, I would say, but what advice would you give for a first timer to 3D Experience World?
Well, there is the sort of like self-management side of things. I would definitely say that plan your day-to-day events really wisely, because there is so many things happening that you tend to sort of get lost. For example, there were talks that I registered to that I didn't end up going just because there's so many things happening at the same time that I had to revisit online at a later date. So sort of like go with the goal. Essentially, what is it that you're going there for? Are you going there to learn, or are you going there to network? Are you going there just to have fun, for instance, right? Go with the goal, sort of plan your events out. Make sure you eat food and drink at proper times, because that was one thing that I forgot to do, and I was like pretty lightheaded by the end of the day. And man, you need your energy up till almost way past midnight, because after all the presentations and all the things, there's always these get-togethers at bars, and you sort of talk with random people about what you're doing and what they're doing, and you make these amazing connections. So just to sort of summarize it, go with a goal, have a plan, sort of try and maximize your goal out, make sure you're like sufficiently hydrated, go with a really comfortable pair of shoes. There will be a lot of walking involved, and don't forget to have fun. You'll have fun, but don't forget to sort of max it.
I've always explained 3D Experience World is the most exhausting event that you'll leave energized.
True. Wow. Yeah. Well put. Yeah. Very well put.
It's just kind of like, your cup is full, you're happy, and yet, like I said, it is my favorite time of the year. I get to travel, I get to see people that I get to see once a year, and it's kind of why Jonny and I will always stay out till like 2-3 in the morning, because we want to make the most of every hour. We can sleep on the plane when we get home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, we just power through.
And just sort of to draw back on some of the previous things you mentioned, like when I was presenting at Nashville in 2023, I believe it was to the Champions group, right? And I was to be really frank, I was really nervous. I was presenting to the world's best of the best SolidWorks users, and here I am, like who's like a nobody, like literally Eric and some of the other folks who've been using SolidWorks from the day it was released were in that group, right?
Yeah.
And I was so nervous, but when I went there and when I presented, they made me feel right at home. Like they gave me it was essentially about CAD organization, and they gave me tips, one or two tips to sort of how to take it even to the next level, right? And and that is what we're talking about. It's not something to be intimidated by, with all the collective experience and all the cool stuff that people do there. They're all so down to earth and helpful that they make you feel invited. That it's something that you need to experience to sort of understand the value, right? It's something. It's sort of like, how does coffee taste like? You can't explain it in words. You need to like experience it.
So. It's 100% welcoming, and they welcome everybody in with wide arms and just give this bigger SolidWorks hug.
Yeah.
But Sanket, it's been an amazing conversation with you. I think this is an amazing point to leave it. I don't know if there's anything more you'd like to add to close up.
I just wanted to sort of, talk about your journey, your guys' journey, like you, Kirby, and Jonny. Like, what's your journey been like, and sort of what made you create this podcast? I must say, I really enjoyed talking to you, and I watched a couple of your episodes, and like it's amazing. You guys are truly the most passionate SolidWorks podcast out there. So
I mean, like we're not striving for views. We're not trying to kind of break the bank or become millionaires because of a podcast. That whole adage of everybody buys a microphone to start a podcast. It's purely about connecting the community and having a place where we can have a little stage where someone we met at World can stand on there and we can have a conversation. You have so many conversations at 3D Experience World, and sometimes you feel like, oh, I really wish so and so was here to listen to that. Or I really wish, I could introduce you to some of my friends back in the UK. The fact that before this, only time Jonny and I ever spoke, or any of the other people at 3D Experience World, was at 3D Experience World. Jonny and I live 4 hours away from each other. We would travel 12 hours to America to chat. So over COVID, we had this kind of thing of, let's just have these conversations out in the open. We'll record them, and we started doing this and kind of tried different things. We've tried making things. Now and then we'll kind of just mess around in SolidWorks, or we'll try and build something. But I think one thing we enjoy the most is chatting to the fun people we met at World. I mean, most of our episodes since World have been people we've met. And yeah, it's just kind of, I used to do a lot of content creation. Like I used to make props from video games like this.
Oh, wow.
That's made in SolidWorks. That also.
What video game is that from?
Destiny, the video game. But like when I made this, people that were making 3D printed props made them static, where I used SolidWorks and allowed things to move.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And that was like, everybody's like, that is cool.
Right.
So from that, I made a lot of content, and that's how SolidWorks found me. Rachel York, who essentially used to do what Dan Wagner does.
Right.
Came across my content on Instagram and then messaged me and said, hey, let's chat. So they wanted me to write some blogs about the stuff that I make. Because I was, you look at the SolidWorks blogs and it's just, plastic blocks and jigs like that. I'm making stuff like that. So they're like, we need to show this to people.
Right.
So I did an article about some swords that I made. And
I read that. I remember reading that. Yeah.
That when that came out, it broke the blog website because of the traffic that it came from it.
Amazing.
And then that led me to come to 3D Experience World and to some of the other release events. And through that, I was invited to one of the release events. I couldn't make it because of work. So I said, I need to introduce you to Luke Daly. He makes cool Star Wars props. Please send him instead. Yeah. And they did. And then Luke started coming to World. Luke invited Jonny. Jonny then got involved in this whole family. And it's kind of each opportunity I'm given, if I'm able to pass that opportunity to someone else, I'm always open arms. Come on this journey with me. And then take them to World and just be like, now go make your own story.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've always strived to do, is just give other people the same opportunity I've been given by inviting them to World. That's why I want to get Brandon onto SolidWorks properly. And that's kind of like, you need to be involved in this. Your IT and kind of experience, your custom PC building experience will be cool at 3D Experience World. So yeah, that's kind of what I try and do. I just try and share my experiences with others.
That's awesome. Are you guys? Do you guys stay close to Luke, or I know he's somewhere near Scotland, right?
Jonny's closer to Luke than I am. Jonny's about 45 minutes away. But it's weird. He's 4 hours away, which like in Canada and US is not far.
It's hardly
it's nothing.
Yeah.
In England, it's the other side of the country. So
right.
you take that perspective, and that's why it's like 4 hours. It's a bit much.
Yeah, no, amazing. And I guess one of the things that like we both know Luke, of course, and Luke was one of the persons who created the Star Wars Mandalorian bike. I believe he came down in 2019, I think it was. He came down to Calgary, and Christian still has stories as to how like he sort of made that thing like very quickly. Christian was out of his depth because Luke knows so much.
Yeah, he was there for a week.
Yeah,
and the only bit of Canada Luke saw was out the tiny window in his basement.
Yeah, exactly. Like I call him that you are my brother from the dark side of the Force. just to tease him.
Yeah, it's like the stuff he does is incredible, and that was kind of a no-brainer. It's like, here's this guy making Star Wars props using SolidWorks. Get involved, and just kind of getting more and more maker people involved led to them working with makers and actually led them to developing Makers Edition, because I was one of the first makers that they invited to these events to show there is an audience for makers.
Oh, is that how that turned out? Okay. I was not aware of. Okay.
So it was me and another guy that was the first kind of maker people that came to a SolidWorks event.
So this is another fantastic example of how SolidWorks, sort of listens to the users and creates entire products just for, like they create it for the makers, right? So that's amazing.
And it's there were some rocky bits in the launch and that stuff, but again, like, because there's a bigger armory of makers now, kind of like, this is what we need. And it's having people like Eric Beatty, who's on a lot of the beta testing stuff, just trialing everything out and being like, fix this, try this, do this, and they're being fixed. I mean, Brandon's installed Maker Edition a few times and got a bit frustrated on this installation process, but now he's starting to find it's actually gotten better.
Getting better. Yeah. No, I hear you. It's like we can't have enough of fellow champions, and like you created an entire forum where you could talk to people. It's amazing. Hats off to you guys, man, Kirby and Jonny. Yeah,
and we're super happy for you to be a guest, and I'm sure we'll be happy to have you on again in the future as well. It's been an amazing conversation.
Totally. Thank you so much.
I'm going to close out with a little social media thing. So if you want to follow me, I'm at KJ Designs. And if you want to follow Jonny, it's at JH_product engineering. If you want to follow the podcast, we are at thecorepodcast.contact on Instagram, Facebook, it's The Core Podcast with the O is a 0. Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok, we are at The Core Podcast. And follow that if you want to see when we go live next. There's the button there. How can people find you, Sanket, if they want to come and have a conversation?
I'm on LinkedIn. Patil Sanket Divakar is my handle, and I'm also on Instagram, though I'm not much of an Instagram person. I'm more of a LinkedIn person. So if you connect with me on LinkedIn, that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Amazing. See, Matthew Hall, love all you do, so creative. Keep up the great work. Thank you. And Brandon, SolidWorks has a tough job of keeping the pensioners happy as well as trying to modernize. But like we were saying, the people that are like 60 years old that are still using the tool are moving with it. They're evolving with it, which I think is amazing.
Right. And the fact that they are also able to have a say in the direction is huge, right? Like, like you mentioned about how Eric is sort of helping troubleshoot a lot of these things, right? And like, it's we are collectively shaping the future of design in a way, which is not, I don't see any other company that lets you do that. So
all together. But once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us, having a conversation, and thank you everybody that's joined us, and hope everybody's enjoyed the conversation.
Pleasure is absolutely mine.
Just in time.
Live long and prosper.
It's been a rough day, a rough night. Sorry, guys.
It's all good. But yeah, thank you very much for joining. We'll see you guys all in the next one.
Thanks, thank you. I enjoyed half of our conversation.
Totally. We should do this one more time. And of course, there's the world to look forward to.
Yes.
Sure.
Cool. Thank you very much. See you all in the next one.
See ya.